What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another Should You Pull video. And this time it's going to be on the last level 70 Crystal Awakening batch number 10. It is going to be the last level 70 Awakening, and the banner here is going to be consisting of a triple EX banner, which includes Lightning's, Shadow's, and Hope's EX. Both Shadow and Hope's EX are brand new to the global version of the game, so this is a pretty enticing banner altogether. Before we start this video, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel, and I really do appreciate all the support that you give me. But without further ado, let's start this video. We'll start this video off with a returning EX weapon, and something that we are all familiar with right now, and that is Lightning's EX called Overture. This is going to give her the EX ability Army of One, which is a one-hit Brave plus HP attack, followed up by a two-hit Brave plus HP attack, and again will be followed up by another two-hit Brave plus HP attack. This will raise the Brave potency if the target is broken. This will also restore her own HP on the total of HP damage dealt up to 10% of her max HP. If the healing amount exceeds the max HP, the excess is converted to Brave, and this will delay the target for one turn. This will also grant her the Knight of Etro buff for 3 turns, and does not consume an ability use for the next turn. Now, while she is on the Ravager mode or stance, this will become the plus variant of Army of One. This will delay the target for 2 turns instead of just the 1 turn. Now, the Knight of Etro buff basically grants her a Thunder enchantment and will raise her max Brave and her attack as well as when the target is broken. This will nullify the action delay and will grant a free turn that does not increase the turn count as well. Now, this basically means whenever she breaks a target, she will have a free turn, and that's what it means, not just when the target is broken. So moving on to 1 out of 3, this will raise the Brave damage dealt at 2 out of 3, increasing the duration for Knight of Etro buff by 2 turns, and at 3 out of 3, increasing its recast speed. Now let's take a look at the realized version of this weapon. At 0 out of 3, this will increase the Brave potency, giving it a 150% max Brave overflow, also inflicting a Thunder resist down debuff for 4 turns after the first HP attack, and will raise the Brave by 20% of the total HP damage dealt after the first 2 HP attacks as well. At 1 out of 3, this will extend the duration of existing buffs by 1 turn, and will slightly increase her max Brave and attack as well. At 2 out of 3, when the quest starts, she will have the Knight of Etro buff straight away for 5 turns, and will fill her EX gauge up to 80%. The first turn will not consume any ability uses, there will be no action delay, and will not increase the turn count as well. However, this will still decrease the friend support and summon action count, as well as the burst action count moving forward. At 3 out of 3, when you're using Army of One, either the plus variant or the non-plus variant, this will cancel the target's break status before the Brave hits, basically just like Vayne's EX weapon. Then this will deal a 2-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, followed up by a 3-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, and again will be followed up by another 4-hit melee Brave attack plus HP attack. And this will tremendously increase the Brave potency, as well as gaining access to the plus variant of her HP attack depending on the stance that she's on. So you get the HP attack plus Ravager, which basically raises her Brave based on her attack, and will do a melee Brave plus HP attack, slightly increasing the potency and giving it a 120% max Brave overflow limit. This will also still increase the Ravager buff count or stacks by 1, and the commando mode, you get the HP attack plus commando, which raises her Brave based on her attack, and will do a 2-hit melee Brave plus HP attack, and this will also have a 120% max Brave overflow limit, as well as increasing 1 stack of the commando buff. Now, the bonus sphere you're getting for this one is Break Raging base attack up. When breaking target, this will raise your initial Brave and attack by 2% up to 5 times. This can only be activated only once per turn, and the same spheres do not stack. So after hearing all this wonderful information regarding Lightning's EX+ or realized weapon, how much should you be investing on Lightning herself? Now, I am of the opinion that you will have to go 3 out of 3 with Lightning as the minimum. And I say this only because Lightning doesn't really have a high amount of attack to begin with. And it's really hard to keep hitting 9999 hits with all her attacks without, you know, increasing her attack altogether. She doesn't have any artifact passives that actually is very unique to her, so most of the time you're trying to get, well, you will be trying to get the attack 108 and max brave 330 for her. So as best as you can, get as much attack as you can for Lightning, so you will be capping at least with her attacks. She's very fast, however her attack isn't that great. And the main reason for 3 out of 3 as well is including the plus variants for both her stances, which I think is a big improvement, because one thing, you add a melee brave plus HP attack on the Ravager mode, and for the Commando, this raises her brave based on her attack first before doing a 2-hit melee brave attack plus HP attack instead of just doing a melee brave plus HP attack, which is really nice. Of course, the other additions are, you know, from basically 0 out of 3 to 2 out of 3. If you're really short on ingots and you want to save some, I probably would recommend going 2 out of 3. But again, I really like her at 3 out of 3 or maxed out because of the amount of attack you need to keep capping basically for her every attack or every ability. So yeah, and that's just my own opinion on this matter. But as for the closest comparison, well, you know, it's gotta have to be Vayne. Vayne has this similar kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess the same mechanics, that's the word I'm looking for. When, you know, you get extra turns and you get free turns, you get free ability usage, or, you know, in terms of Vayne, you get like the initial value goes or the value goes up by 1. So very similar. I guess you could have said, like, you know, on my Vayne video, I'm pretty sure on top of my head I compared her to Lightning, so it's only fair to just re-compare her back to Vayne. So very similar, but you know, Vayne's EX is more AoE, whereas Lightning is strictly for 1, and they both have delay mechanics as well, which is really similar. So yeah. Okay guys, so moving on to the next character that we're going to take a look at is going to be Hoped, and he will have a rework for his level 70 Crystal Awakening. We'll start this off with the Shell Extend, which will be getting 1 extra use, increasing the Brave gain based on his attack by 90%, and giving the party a magic resist up effect. This basically gives it a 10% increase, plus 3 duration, and an attack up for himself. Duration will be added 5 more turns, and this will have a low action delay. It will not increase the turn count anymore, however it will still decrease the friend support and summon action count, and you will get access to the plus variant of his HP attack as well. This will be a 2-hit magic brave attack plus HP attack, and increasing the allies brave based on 50% of the HP damage dealt. Now the next one is going to be the Protect Extend, which will get 1 extra usage. Pretty much the same thing as Shell Extend, but this time is more for the physical resist up. This will also give him a speed up as well, increasing duration count, lower action delay, will not increase the turn count once again, and will still decrease the friend and support and summon action count. And while he is buffed, he will gain access to the plus variant of his Brave attack. This will be a 3-hit Brave attack, which will have a brave potency of 80% of his attack, and increasing the party's brave by 40% of his attack. Now, one thing that I do want to note, guys, that I probably won't be covering the crystal passives, that crystal passive awakening 58 and 54, if there is any difference. I just want to save a little bit of time when it comes to these videos, because they are getting very, very long. So if there is any difference in there, I probably won't be covering that in the future videos, just to let you guys know. But there will be some changes here and there for those ones as well. I think the most important thing is covering both the abilities rather than just the, you know, the passives as well. So let me know down in the comments if that's okay with you. If not, then I will still keep trying, but in the meantime, I think I do want to save as much time as I can. Now let's take a look at his EX weapon called Eagle Talon. This will give him the EX ability called Last Resort, which is a 4-hit AoE magic brave plus HP attack. This increases the brave damage dealt by 60% when there's only one target. This will deal 100% HP damage to all targets, and will recover the party's HP by 50% of the HP damage dealt, with a limit of 20% of their max HP. This will also give him the Bearer of Hope unique buff. It's a little icon, I believe. This will raise you know, the max brave by 40% and raises the attack by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% based on the level, and the stolen brave can overflow, will have an overflow limit increase by 10, 15, 20, 25, 30% based on the level as well. This will have a slightly fast recast speed, and at 1 out of 3, this will increase the brave damage dealt with Last Resort by 10%. 2 out of 3 increases the ally's brave by 10% of the HP damage dealt, and at 3 out of 3 increasing the recast speed for the weapon. Now, before we move on to the realized version of Hope's EX weapon, I do want to add that to increase the level of, I guess, this Bearer of Hope or / Grown Boy is going to be depending on the amount of party buffs that you have active. So at level 1 you need about 1 to 3 buffs, level 2 is 4 to 6, level 3 is 7 to 9, 4 is 10 to 12, and the level 5 is going to be 13 to 15 buffs in total. In any case, now let's move on to the EX+ or the realized version of his EX weapon. At 0 out of 3 when using Bearer of Hope, or sorry, when Bearer of Hope is active, you will have access to the variant for both his Brave attack and HP attack. So the Brave attack will turn to Brutal Sanction, which is a 4-hit AoE magic Brave attack. This increases the brave damage dealt when there's only one target, increases the party's brave by 70% of his attack, and his HP attack will turn to Retributive Blast, which is a 4-hit magic brave plus HP attack. This will have a 120% max brave overflow limit, as well as doing 20% splash damage to non-targets, and will inflict a 4 turn of defense down debuff when breaking a target or attacking a target that is already broken. At 1 out of 3, this will raise the party's max brave and attack by 20%. At 2 out of 3, when the quest starts, he will have access to all his buffs as well as the party buffs as well. At 3 out of 3, this will increase the hit count for Last Resort to 8, and increasing the brave potency by 280%, and the stolen brave can now overflow to 120% of his max brave as well. Now the bonus sphere that you're going to be getting for this one is Buff Success Attack Boost All Short. When granting a buff, raises the party's max brave and attack by 5% for 3 turns. Okay guys, so after hearing all this information regarding Hope's EX, EX+, and of course his rework, how much should you be investing on Hope? Now honestly, I gotta put him on 1 out of 3 for his minimum requirement for me, at least for me. And the main reason for this is the increase for the party's max brave and attack. You already get the better versions of his HP attack on 0 out of 3. 2 out of 3 is nice because you do save up on like two uses of your abilities, one for the shell and one for the protect. So if you want to save a little bit more on your ability usage, you can definitely just start this off at 2 out of 3. But max wise, I think 3 out of 3 is the way to go for Hope. And the main reason for this is the actual hit counts for Hope. Now, because he is a support, and usually you would be rocking with only one support in your party, so it's yeah, it's kind of a requirement for support to actually kind of do as much damage as they can with whatever they've got, because chances are they're going to be your only support or battery for that team, and even if you have another sort of battery, they probably aren't as good as what Hope would be battering the team with. So chances are you might not be capping on Hope's EX ability, especially it's only being a 4-hit. It is an AoE Magic Brave attack, which is nice. If there are multiple targets, you probably can get away for not doing 3 out of 3. But if there's only one target, you definitely need those extra Brave hit counts as a support, because as a support, really, again, they need to do as much damage as they can, because no one else is going to probably be supporting them in terms of capping out your max Brave. So yeah, and you get the 120% max Brave overflow limit as well, which is really nice, because you don't Hope doesn't actually have any max Brave overflow until 3 out of 3 of his EX+. So yeah, I gotta say, try to get 3 out of 3 for Hope if you do have him. You can get away with 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3 if you're really short on ingots, but in order for you to actually, you know, make use of Hope to his full potential, it has to be 3 out of 3, at least for me anyway. Now, as for the closest comparison, I can probably put Penelo here. They both have low action delays. You know, it doesn't increase turn counts, at least for Penelo. Her first ability doesn't increase like turn count, whereas with Hope, it doesn't increase any turn count for both his buffs, which is really nice. And the amount of buffs they give are almost identical. I think for Penelo is more the offensive buffer, whereas Hope is going to be the more defensive buffers. Now, as for his unique icon, Grown Boy or Bearer of Hope, I'm actually not sure which one it is. Basically, this sort of acts like Beatrix's access to the ++ variants of her attack, whereas with Hope this increases, like, you know, the buffs that he basically gets for himself. So this is really an interesting way to do this, and I gotta say it's kind of like Kate as well. Like, he needs a certain amount of buffs for the entire party before he actually gains access to like the plus variants of his attack, so, or his ability. So Hope is kind of like that with that, but I gotta say it's a very unique way to do it, and can't wait to actually, you know, try it out if I do end up getting him. I don't know if I have enough ingots, but yeah. Okay guys, so now let's move on to the final character that we're going to be going through. It's going to be Shadow, and he will be getting a rework for this one as well. Let's start off with his first ability extension, which is Shadow Stealth Extend. This will get 3 extra uses. It will moderately increase the Brave gain based on his attack, and will do a 3-hit range Brave plus HP attack. This will also get a 150% max Brave overflow limit, and will integrate a slightly improved speed up and medium evasion up into Veiled in Black, and this will extend the duration by 7 turns as well. The next one is going to be his Wild Throw Extend. which will have a whopping 7 extra uses. This will become a 3-hit range Brave plus HP attack that is triggered twice with a set potency. This will tremendously increase the Brave potency, and the Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of his max Brave and raise his Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. This will also grant him the throw ability. Well, I guess this is his Brave attack now. This will basically be a 2-hit Brave hit count with a moderate increase in the Brave potency. Okay, now let's move on to his EX weapon, Night Edge, which gives him the EX ability called Shadow Fang, which is a 5-hit range Brave plus HP attack. The Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of his max Brave and granting him the Interceptor buff for 3 turns. Now, while Interceptor is active, this will moderately raise his max Brave and reducing the Brave damage taken as well. This will also trigger Wild Fang after a successful evasion and after using Shadow Stealth, Wild Throw, and Shadow Fang. This will trigger a 4-hit range Brave plus HP attack, and the Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of his max Brave. Now, this will have a slightly slow recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 increases the Brave damage dealt, at 2 out of 3 extends the duration of the special effect of Interceptor by 3 turns, and at 3 out of 3 increasing its recast speed. Okay guys, now let's move on to Shadow's realized weapon, and let's start this off obviously at 0 out of 3. This will increase the Brave potency for Shadow Fang and slightly increasing the max Brave overflow limit. This will also deal 50% splash damage to non-targets as well. At 1 out of 3, this will moderately raise his max Brave and attack, and when the quest starts, he will get the Interceptor buff for 6 turns. At 2 out of 3, he will get his medium attack up and Veiled in Black, and a medium max Brave up buff for 5 turns, and the Wild Fang, I guess, trigger ability will now also ignore defense, and which is really a powerful thing to have. At 3 out of 3, when using Shadow Fang, this will increase the Brave hit count to 8 and increasing the Brave potency and slightly increasing the max Brave overflow limit once again. You will also gain access to his HP attack plus, and this will be a 2-hit range Brave plus HP attack that actually ignores defense, and the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% of his max Brave. And the bonus sphere you're getting for this one is called Single Critical Attack Up Long. When dealing a critical hit to a single target, this will raise your attack by 10% for 6 turns. So after hearing all this information regarding Shadow's EX and of course his EX+, plus his rework, how much should you be investing on Shadow? I think you should start this off at 1 out of 3 limit break, because this is where he gets the Interceptor buff for 6 turns, which is very important, and you can only gain access to this when using his EX ability, which unfortunately has a slightly slow recast speed to begin with. And with 1 increase of recast speed will be in the slow recast speed, I guess, or normal. I don't know how it works. I'm just trying to think, but anyway, it will have only 1 increase of recast speed, so it's still in the slow side when it comes to EX recharge ability. So you really want this at 1 out of 3 to begin with. You can argue you can start at 2 out of 3 as well, because this is where you get the ignore defense for Wild Fang, which is really important for Shadow increasing his damage output. So either one will work, and just depending on your ingots, of course. But to me, 1 out of 3 is kind of enough, especially if you're pretty low on ingots. He can get his buffs when he uses his abilities, which for more than any reason you will be using anyway. So you'll be getting his Veiled in Black, and you get the attack up and the max Brave up, as well as, you know, when you're using his abilities, and for the most part you will be using them anyway. So the biggest thing at 2 out of 3 is going to be the ignore defense, which is really nice. Now for max, I gotta go with 3 out of 3 for Shadow. even if you can also argue you can stop at 2 out of 3 as well, but if you are planning to do that, you have to have a very good Brave battery alongside with Shadow, so you can keep capping his EX ability basically. Now obviously for the most part it still hits pretty high. There is 5 hits on it to begin with. It's not that bad. But the biggest thing here is his access to an HP attack plus. Unfortunately for Shadow, he doesn't actually have any HP attack plus to begin with. So for longevity reasons, I really went with 3 out of 3, and that's the biggest thing. Not because of the Brave hit counts or the slightly increase of overflow limit or the increase in potency. It's more for the longevity, so you don't actually have to use a lot of his abilities. Now I know Shadow got a lot of extra usage for his second ability, but you still want to use some HP attacks every now and again just to save up on those abilities. So gotta say, you know what, this HP attack plus ignores defense, which is really nice. So I gotta say, go 3 out of 3 if you're going with Shadow, and if he's your favorite, obviously 3 out of 3 is the way to go. Now as for the closest comparisons, because of this ignore defense encounter, I gotta say I can't get 8 out of my mind because that's the way 8 works. Like, you know, he gets hit or he dodges and he counters and he ignores defense, and that's what pretty much what Shadow does as well. Unfortunately, his evasion isn't as high as evasion as say Edge or Galuf. A medium evasion, I don't know what the percentage of that dodge is, or if it's even 100%. But yeah, I just can't get 8 out of my mind because of the counter and the ignore defense on that counter. So I just ended up using I ended up just putting you know, 8 there. But you can argue, you know, lots of the ninjas out there. Edge is kind of the same with his dodging abilities, and you know, a unique buff that's basically for dodging. So yeah, gotta say, you can add anyone you want. If you have anyone that you think are better comparisons, let me know down in the comments below. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and man, this is a very long video because I had to cover 3 different EX+s on this one. How much should you pull? That's a question, and not how much you should be. Oh man, Night Shift really hits you, huh? Yeah, so should you pull on this banner? I am of the opinion, this is just my opinion, okay, this banner is actually quite decent. You get 3 really good characters. Obviously the standouts are going to be Hope and Lightning, but Shadow himself isn't too bad either. His damage output is pretty good. So I wouldn't really put him behind the 2 of them, but at least in my opinion, Lightning is one of my favorite characters, so she will be always ahead in terms of like ranking. So yeah, this is a pretty decent banner. So I guess you should pull on this one. Use your tickets if you can get away with it. You can use gems, but try not to use all of them. And the main reason for this is there's a lot of good characters coming out in the near future, and we are pretty close to the burst era, which is going to be, as I think the estimated date would be on August. And there's a bunch of really good characters coming out, and I know you've heard this from different YouTubers and information out there. You know, if you listen to the TCC podcast as well, everyone's like, hold on to your gems as much as you can. So even though I say, yeah, go ahead and pull, because this is a triple EX banner, it's really nice. You get really different, you know, 3 really good characters as well. I still want to warn you guys that if you are pulling for this one, do try to limit yourself on how much you can, how much you should be spending. Now the thing is, Lightning's EX is also available if you're starting off, like if you're a brand new player. Her EX is available in the starter banner, and you can actually get her EX in the EX token shop as well. So if you haven't finished like Dimensions and the, I can't remember, is it not the Entropy one, is the other one, if you can get like EX tokens and you can grab her EX there. Unfortunately for Hope and Shadow, you do have to pull on the banner. I gotta say, just really look into your roster and see if you really need these characters. Me personally, I'll probably be gonna be using my tickets on this one because I do want to try out Hope, and I do want to maybe get Shadow as well. Not so much as Shadow, but definitely Hope I want to try out. And because I'm a sucker for like these support characters most of the time, so yeah. That's my main reason. Anyway, guys, I think I'll end the video right here. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel to grow, and I really do appreciate all the support you guys give me. And of course, it helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. Make sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. And again, a quick reminder, I mentioned it somewhere in the video, that I will try to avoid when it comes to reworks, to adding the C54 passive and the C58 passives now, just to save a little bit of time. But if you guys feel like I should still add them, let me know down in the comments below. But in the meantime, I think in the future videos I will be concentrating more on their ability 1s and ability 2 extensions, because they are the ones that get a lot of attention and a lot of changes. So I mean, extra little attack here and there is nice, but I think I should be focusing more on those the abilities rather than the extra little passives that you get. So, but yeah, let me know down in the comments below if you think I should just keep them in there. It takes like 20 seconds to do, but anyway, I am trying to shorten down the videos as much as I can. Not this video though, because this video is over 30 minutes long. It's very long. Anyway, this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.